Should men have the freedom to ditch their traditional gender roles just like women do?
Yes, absolutely. Why not?
I think that might limit them sometimes, but I feel like everyone should have freedom to do what they want to do, no matter what sex they are.
You should be able to have that freedom. Everybody should have the liberty to do whatever they want in a relationship. But is it frowned upon? Yes, for men. Yes, it is, of course.
What do you think that does to his
That's the big difference. It's frowned upon for men, but it's celebrated for women. When a woman says, you know what, I choose to opt out of being a mother. I choose to opt out of motherhood. I want to be independent. I want to go, up the corporate ladder. I want to make a ton of money. I want to just travel. Everyone applauds that. And they're like, ooh, nice. Hell yeah. Go ahead. Do your thing. But if a dude's like, you know what? I don't want to be a leader. I want to let my girl lead. I don't want to make the tough decisions. I also don't want to be the breadwinner. I want her to make all the money. They going to look at him and be like, what? You respect him? That's what they're going to say to the woman. You respect him?
What do you think that does to his dating options and why?
Well, they probably limits them by a significant amount if he's looking for women, but
I prefer a traditional woman. I want to take care of you, and I want you to take care of me emotionally, and I'll take care of you financially and physically. That's me. If you ditch that, you're probably going to get with someone who doesn't give a shit about you.
Women's gender roles originally were just to stay at home and be housewives, and men were to go to work, and they're still expected to do that and provide for the family, but women aren't, in a way. You know what I mean?
So does he actually have the freedom, or do women enforce these roles based on their selections in men?
I think it's a man's choice. And women, I think naturally women probably want to procreate, and so generally would reinforce it. But if a man doesn't want to do that, then it's his choice.
It's obviously his choice, but are you going to choose that dude that chooses to opt out of his gender role? Absolutely not. And I mean, it is what it is. Us dudes that want, to procreate, they understand, hey, you got to continue to be a man, a masculine man. You got to continue to perform. Otherwise, you're not going to find a woman. You're not. She can say, hey, she wants to be liberal. She doesn't really care much about gender roles. But in her subconscious, she still wants you to take charge. She still wants you to be confident. She still wants you to make more money than her. She still wants you to be taller than her. All these things. She can say as much as she wants, oh, it's not that big a deal. I don't care that much. But her biology is going to want something else. Just like men, we can say we're cool with a woman who's, loud and, makes a lot of money and she doesn't really listen to male authority, but it's going to turn us off sexually. You can't fight your biology.
I think a lot of girls expect the man to provide and work while they stay at home. And if a man doesn't want to do that, then it decreases his options.
What do you think that does to his dating options and why?
What does it do? I mean, it probably limits them because a lot of women have a different set boundaries. But I mean, once you find the person that is okay with it, it works.
So does he actually have the freedom, or do women enforce those roles based on their selections in men?
Probably enforce it because everyone has boundaries, but
Look, it's both. It goes both ways, because if a woman is not feminine and she's not doing what she's supposed to, obviously they're going to have way more options than men, just because that's how it's naturally been since the beginning of time. Like, looking at the stats, it says historically it's estimated that about 40% of men reproduce, and then 80% of women successfully reproduce. So that means a very small amount of men are getting the opportunity to even have children. So looking at those numbers, we can tell that women still have way more options. But the main reason that I said that it still goes both ways is because still dudes will have their preferences too. Like, if they want a woman who's going to listen to them and follow their leadership, if a boss chick comes their way, they're going to just smash her and not take her seriously. And we're seeing it today with the marriage rates being the lowest they've ever been, and who gives out wedding ring? Men. Men are the ones who have to get down on one knee and ask her hand in marriage. And if men aren't doing that, it's pretty clear why. It means that, hey, they don't really want to commit to the women of today, and they just want to have fun. They just want to do their own thing. Hey, we can come together, we can spend a little time, have fun, and then go our separate ways. We can date, but we ain't going to be nothing serious. So it goes both ways. If you're not meeting the standards that we need for both men and women, you're not going to get what you want.
So do you think that men are slaves to their gender roles?
Oh, I would like to say no, but then I guess you could turn around and think, are women slaves to their gender roles as well?
Well, yeah, but do you think that a woman has to cook and clean and do all those like traditional things to be with men?
That you said women have to?
No, do you think that women have to do all those traditional things to be with men?
Far less.
No. No.
So then wouldn't men be more likely to be slaves to their gender roles than women?
Then
Yep.
probably.
Because like I just showed y'all, only 40% of men are going to be able to reproduce, while it's double the amount for women. With them still being untraditional, women still being untraditional and getting away from their gender roles, they're still able to have children, which is the ultimate goal of human beings. And then the men, on the other hand, not so much. So we have to jump through way more hoops to be able to get the same thing. Yeah, men are definitely more enslaved by their gender roles than women are.
Why do people think male loneliness is self-inflicted if women's mate choice still overwhelmingly rewards traditional masculinity?
Yeah, unfortunately, women want the top like 5% of men, and so that leaves just 95% of men with no choices.
Why do women complain about a gender pay gap if men typically have to earn more money in order to be chosen by women?
Because in today's day and age, women are single mothers, they live on their own, they're lesbians, and they also need to make as much as men do.
If a man doesn't want to be the provider, protector, or initiator in dating, is that attractive?
It depends on who's, what the girl wants. But personally, yes, that's not attractive. That's like, I would want a man to provide. I wouldn't want him to it depends. Like, if he's just staying at home doing absolutely nothing, I wouldn't want that.
Why are gender roles optional for women but mandatory for men?
I feel like they're optional for women because women have a idea that they don't have to do certain things if they don't want to do it. But men, you can have that same idea, but you just won't be chosen at the end of the day.
Facts. That's what it is. You just will not be chosen. If you do not perform, like throughout my life, I've known plenty of dudes from high school all the way through college who never really worked on themselves, never really developed themselves. Yeah, they went off to get like a decent job and stuff, but it's not enough for them to be looked at. Like they don't have the wow factor that a lot of women are looking for. And unfortunately, they don't get chosen. They're going against dudes who have better jobs than them. They're taller, they're smarter, they're more athletic, they're more confident, they got better leadership skills. Like all these things, you have to use all your skill points and diversify them. You got to diversify your portfolio, basically. Meanwhile, you have a lot of women who are just putting all of their skill points into beauty, and they're not actually developing any other skills. They don't take accountability. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They don't care about nurturing anything except for themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of women out there who are good women who are doing those things. And if you find one of those, you better wife her up. But there's a lot of them nowadays that feel like they don't need to do any of that, and they still get chosen. That's the crazy thing. So men and women, we live different realities, man.
I don't think it's necessarily that way. I think that we're opening up more as a society for both roles. But yeah, probably the male traditional gender role is moving a little bit slower.
Why are gender roles optional for women but mandatory for men?
This is waking me up. I'm not gonna lie. These questions are waking me up. I don't.
It's because men allow women to get away with it. That's why. They don't hold them to a standard and say, oh, you don't know how to cook? Pass. Oh, you're not willing to submit? Pass. They're still like, oh, babe, please. All right, cool. Just let me get a shot. Let me just possibly date you. That's why. Because men allow them to get away with it.
No, I couldn't answer that.
What would it look like for men to fully opt out of traditional male roles?
Okay, honestly, I feel like if they completely switch sides, they would just be at home cooking, cleaning. But I think it should be equal. I feel like both the woman and the man should be working, providing for the household, and also cleaning up as well.
If a woman seeks independence, we call it empowerment. If a man seeks freedom from his obligations, what do we call that?
Probably laziness.
Why is there a difference?
Because a man is seen as like he's supposed to be doing this.
Do you think men are
Yep. And that's the difference, man. We have different obligations and we have different pressures on us. Now, the scales are out of whack. Like she said a second ago, I do agree that both the man and woman should be out working. Now, the man, in my opinion, should be making more, but they should both be contributing financially to the household. They should both be cleaning. They should both be cooking. It's a partnership at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong. The man should be doing a little bit more in everything just because he's the leader and that's the burden that's placed on us. But you got to work together. But that's going to be it for this video. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this in the comment section. Do y'all agree with some of the questions he asked? Do y'all disagree? Put everything down in the comments below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit the hype button, the like button, and the subscribe button. It really, really helps grow the channel and push the videos into the algorithm. And then also I'll say the one thing that I learned from watching this video before I get out of here is that, yeah, man, men and women, we live different realities. It is what it is. We gotta react accordingly. We gotta move accordingly for the best outcome that we can get. That's it for this one. Oh, and the video will be linked in the description too, so you can go check out the entire thing without my commentary. But that's it for this one. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.